What's up, Jets fans? It's tough. It is. It's tough. You know, it's hard. It's hard, Jets fans. It is. Days like today are not easy. This is a tough week. It's tough. But I'm going to say something. It's okay. Now, I'm going to explain why that is the case. Okay, I'm going to make sure that we understand that this is not a time to cannibalize each other and point fingers and, I told you so, I knew it. And we shouldn't do that at all, okay? Now, it's very important that I first say this. Welcome to a somber episode of GreenBean's Jets Pod. I am Green Bean, and this is episode number 95, a very exciting number. An exciting number, and it's really an appropriate number for this particular week. I'll tell you why shortly. I'm sure you don't have to dig too far to know who I'm going to talk about in today's player profile. It's a pretty easy one, but an important one. And again, it's appropriate that we talk about this guy this week. But man, I know you're disappointed. I know you are. You want to know how I know? First of all, because I am. And I am you. I am of you. We are of the same ilk. That's what we are. We're of the same ilk, and it's tough, man. This was tough, and I'm sad about it. I am. And it's like, you know, we talk all the time about just wanting to be a competitive team, right? We do. We talk about it. For years, let's say, 12 of them. We've been talking about if we just had a competitive team, something to be proud of, win more games than we lose. In the games that we lose, we're just not getting blown out 45-10, stuff like that. 54-13, whatever it was. We say these things. We've said these things. We've agreed upon that conclusion. If we just had a team that is competitive, something to be proud of, wins more games than it loses, and in the games that we lose, we don't look like a complete laughingstock. We're there. We could have won it. We're here. We are here. Everything that we've hoped for on this stop of our progression train, right? We know this isn't the end of the road. We haven't been building for 6 years and all the guys are going to leave. It's our last year with our Hall of Fame quarterback. That's not where we are. We're in the infancy, the toddler stage, let's call it. We're toddlers. And this is what we said we wanted. We're here. So we shouldn't feel as bad as we find ourselves feeling. Can't help it. Sucks. Now, I don't know. I'm going to tell you, man. I don't know if it's better to be blown out and just know. As far as my emotions go, anyway. I don't know if it's better to just lose. No, all right. We took a couple of shots. We scored 2 touchdowns. But it's 31-14, and that's just the way it is. You know? Or if it's better just to claw and scratch and fight and believe to the last second and lose. I honestly, I know what I said. I know that we agreed upon these conclusions. I know it. But I really don't know because this one hurts. This game hurts. In my opinion, we should have won it. Could have won it. And in some weird alternate dimensional thing, multiverse, we did. Now, what about those guys? Those Jets fans right now are drinking. Yeah, all right, we're the best in the multiverse. Well, not us. Not us. Our little patch, our little chunk of the multiverse, here we are. Oh, guys, so here's the silver lining, the warm blanket is we got each other. Now, if we just be friggin' nice to each other for 5 minutes, you'd realize that's an incredible positive. And here we are. We have the family, we have us. We have us. In some ways, in some place, some fashion, it's great. In others, it's really, really terrible. But we have us. So welcome, guys. Welcome to GreenBean's Jets Pod. Again, episode 95. I'm excited that you're here. I'm happy that you're here. I want to welcome all the new people. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome. This is just an hour or so chit-chatting, digging in as much as we can. And I think you'll like it. Give me a chance. Give this a chance. Give the show a chance, man. And I think you'll like it. If you do, go ahead and consider clicking that like button. It means the world in the YouTube verse. In this version of the multiverse, this version of YouTube really places a lot of emphasis on the like button. Even more so, guys, we have a goal here. December 31st, it'll be my 2-year YouTube anniversary on this channel. We started it 2 years ago, December 31st, or I think that's when I put out my first video, maybe, something along those lines. December 31st is the anniversary. We'd like to get to 10,000 subs. I never even thought I'd be here, but we are. So we have the goal. I need like 550. That's it. 550. We can do it. And if you'd like to help, click that subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. Now, something else I'd like to tell you is that if you'd like more content, secret private streams and access and a great Discord server and classic game watch parties, all private and exclusive, you can join the greatest group known to Jets fandom, the Beanbaggers. The link to join that group is in the description of this very video. You can click that link. Come on in. It's fantastic. The guys and gals are the best. I love them. We have a good time in there. I think you'd like it too. And before we dig into our player profile and really sink our teeth into who is becoming or may have officially entrenched himself as my favorite Jet currently, I didn't know that was the case. I knew he was up there, but today sealed it. My favorite Jet. We'll dig into that right after a few words about the sponsor of GreenBean's Jets Pod. I am delighted to tell you that Manscaped is sponsoring this episode of the GreenBean's Jets Pod, and you already know this. You know about Manscaped. You've heard about it. You've been thinking about it. This is the holiday season, guys. It's the holiday season. No better time to buy someone Manscaped products, to encourage someone to give you Manscaped products. What are they? Just in case you didn't know, it's the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. The Performance Package, which is what I got, is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. Use the promo code GreenBean and you will save 20% and receive free shipping. Now, here's the twist to that. It's not just 20%. Manscaped is killer with their deals that they have on their website. They're always giving 10%, 20%, 35% off all different products. The clincher is that you can tack the 20% Green Bean code on top of the sales. They're already happening right now. So going into the holidays, if you're thinking about this, you can save 50% in some instances. Now's the time to do it. I'll tell you right now, my favorite thing about Manscaped is this guy right here, the Lawnmower 4.0. It's got the flashlight. You know what you're supposed to do with this. You've done it before with other things. The flashlight changes the game. I love it. It's also the thing I use for the beard. Let's see. I got to be careful on camera. I'm not mirroring it. I'm just, look, I don't know what I'm doing. I got to stop. I love this thing. I use it quite literally every single day. You will too. Manscaped, link is in the description with the promo code GreenBean to save 20% and free shipping. Thank you. All right, so who are we going to talk about today? Did he have a good game? Do we know who he is? Let's talk about Quinnen Mother effing Williams. Guys, episode 95, number 95 on the New York Jets right now. As of today, I've danced with it. I've teetered with it. No question in my mind, my number one New York Jet. As a matter of fact, If the Jets extend him, which they should, he's like, I want $39 million a year. Then he gets $39 million a year. That's how I feel about Quinnen Williams, okay? He needs $44 million a year. He gets $44 million a year. Guaranteed. With incentives. He can make up to $74 million a year. That's what I want to see. Quinnen Williams is an absolute stud muffin. You guys love him. Let me just tell you what he did today. Let me just tell you what our 6'3", 303-pound, 24-year-old baby-faced animal did just today. Now, we've talked about Quinnen Williams. We've talked about his propensity to do things when you need them to be done. We've had lots of players here that have compiled stats. You look at their stats at the end of the year, you go, oh, I guess that guy's great. I didn't realize he was so good because I never noticed him doing anything on 3rd and 9 or 4th and 2. I don't know. He disappears. That's not Quinnen Williams. He has the uncanny knack for coming up big when you want him, when you need someone to come up big. There are good players, there are great players, and there are superstar players. The superstars know how to come up big when you need them, can take over a game if they need to. That is Quinnen Williams. Now, just today, here's why he cemented himself in my heart forever, okay? Now, he had 5 tackles today, 3 of which were solo. He did have a sack. Could have had more. Very close. 3 inches. That kind of stuff. So he's pressuring and hurrying all day long. All day long. But he also had 3 tackles for a loss. And guess what? The sack, 3rd down. The tackle for a loss, 3rd down. The other one, 4th down. This is what he does. Now let's talk about his stats through the year. Now, Quinnen Williams he's been improving every single year. He's really the lone star from the Mike Maccagnan drafts, right? Mike Maccagnan had 5 draft classes. We saw guys like Leo. We saw Darren Lee, right? We saw Jamal Adams. We saw Marcus May in the second. We saw Ja'Kai Polite. Who didn't think Ja'Kai Polite was going to be a superstar, right? Quinnen Williams is the one guy. Yes, he got a good 6th-round pick with Alonzo Fatukasi, good player. He's not Quinnen. Let's be real here. Quinnen Williams, 3rd overall pick, 2019 draft. He's still with us, and this is what he's gathered, collected, if you will. Remembering, these aren't the same stats as other guys with equal stats. He does it on 3rds, on 4ths. He does it when you need him to do it. Quinnen Williams has a total of 44 tackles this season. He has 28 solo, 9 sacks, so he's now, this is his best year sack-wise. He's gonna break double digits easy. I predicted 14 at the beginning of the year. We have 5 more games, I think it is. Yeah, we have 5 more games. If he gets 1, he's got 14 sacks. So there he is. I mean, he can get multiple sacks. He almost had a multiple sack game against the Vikings. So he's got 9 sacks, 10 tackles for a loss. He's got 22 quarterback hits right now, 1 blocked field goal, 1 forced fumble, and a fumble recovery, which it's, again, not your normal fumble recovery. You know what Quinnen Williams gave us? He gave us a fumble recovery that he returned for 12 yards, and on the way, we got to saw a gorgeous neck slam of Tyreek Hill. You see what I mean? He has that, he knows how to add sugar. He knows how to spice up a delicious dish. He knows how to do it. That's Quinnen Williams. Now, Quinnen Williams is he's going to be up for his contract, okay? Now, he's going to want a lot of money, anywhere from $19 to $25 million per year. Now, obviously, Joe Douglas is going to want to do the best he can, right? Save as much as he can. This isn't the guy to save it with. Of course, you try, you negotiate, you do the best you can to make the contract agreeable for, to beneficial for the overall roster management that you have to take care of. But this is the guy. Quinnen Williams is the guy, particularly on defense, but I would say on the whole team currently. He's the guy you make a statement with and you keep him here. If Quinnen Williams ever plays another snap for another team, other than the New York Jets, it is a gross mismanagement of the most dominant, likable, just impactful player we've had here in forever. Forever. One more little piece before we get on something else here. Did you know Quinnen Williams dislocated his shoulder today in the middle of the game? He was out for a handful of plays. Came back in. That's the guy we're talking about here and had impact. That's the guy. As a matter of fact, when the Mike White running touchdown on the quarterback sneak that they tried to call back on us because the refs were against us the whole game, let's just call it what it is, damn it. Quinnen Williams was seen literally pointing to the screen. They had our defense on the field right to their offensive lineman laughing at him, saying, dude, that's a touchdown. You're nuts. I don't know exactly what he said, but that's what I saw. Screw you, you ugly bastard. That's what I saw. He was saying that. Probably something a little different than that. But he was even seen doing that. Quinnen Williams is the stud of studs. In my opinion, he's a lifelong Jet. The moment he signs that, I'm getting a Quinnen Williams jersey because I'm afraid to buy jerseys. I won't do it. I'm afraid. You got to have your second contract, and it's got to be a long-term contract before I even consider it. So there you go. Our player profile of the week, Quinnen Williams, still 24 years old, for God's sakes. This kid, if he plays till he's 30, we could have him for 10 more years. Think about that, even longer. I love him. You love him. He's the man. He's the best we've had in quite a long time. And I will say thank you to Mike McCagnon for the one player that you brought here that was actually good. In addition to Jamal Adams, who Joe Douglas flipped and made very valuable, but Quinnen is it. Quinnen is it. Thank you, Mr. McCagnon. And there he is, Quinnen Williams. Oh, interestingly enough, I just realized this. He's 24 on the recording of this, but when you're listening to it, it'll be his 25th birthday. December 5th is his 25th birthday. Happy birthday, Quinnen Williams. Yay! All right. Woo! Who knew? It's like kismet. He just so happens to be the player for episode 95. We just organically got here on a day that he had an incredible impact, broke his shoulder, came back in, and it's his birthday. Come on, everybody. That's when you know it's meant to be. You see what I mean? There's too many things stacking in your favor here. I love you, Quinnen Williams. You're my kind of guy. All right. Happy birthday, Quinnen. I like it. Now, the interesting thing, too, as we get into the game this week, did you see the play after he went down? Who stepped up and literally crushed the receiver on third down? It was his brother Quincy. Thunderstruck. Said, that's it. You don't hurt my brother. And blah, crushed him. It was beautiful. But we're going to do it. We're going to talk about this game that we watched this week. We were rooting. We were psyched. We watched it. And it was a tough loss. Let's get into that in the news of the week. I'll tell you, man, Jets fans, you got every right to feel down. You got every right to be disappointed. You know what the truth is with this one? Is we blew it. We blew it. We went into their house. We were sloppy. Okay, we started the game sloppy. It started with, drop passes. Corey Davis popping one up. It goes into an interception, which is in field goal range, essentially. So even though our defense comes out, stops them in 3, they get a free 3 points. When you lose a game by 5, that's a big friggin' deal, because guess what? If that field goal wasn't there, when we got down there at the end, all we had to do is kick it and we win. You see what I'm saying? So there's all kinds of little things like that. So we started the game sloppy, particularly on offense. But let's be real here. Our defense did not come out bad. They came out nasty. They stopped them the first 2 drives, 3 and outs. 3 and outs. And it just, had a rough second quarter. They did. 17 points rough. So that's how that went. Now, what's the number one thing that came out of this game? We have been arguing for 2 weeks, really for longer than that, but particularly the last 2 weeks, Jets fans have been kind of split. I won't say down the middle because I do believe that the one side's contingent is smaller and smaller, and that's Mike White versus Zach Wilson. So Mike White comes in last week. He has a 300 and change yard game. He has 3 touchdowns, but we've seen that before, right? We saw that last year with his 405-yard game, and then the next week he gets hurt, and then he gets Buffalo. So he went real high and then real low. So we were wondering, what is this guy going to do? Now, he was a little off, a little fidgety, maybe a little bit happy-feety, a little passes behind, receivers and stuff, but he was being betrayed. Passes in guys' hands were being dropped. Tyler Conklin, I don't know what the hell his deal was. But so we have this whole thing where we're wondering if Mike White is the guy. Can he at least be the guy for this season while Zach Wilson just gets his head straight? No matter what we're going to do later, can we just have a quarterback that can maximize the potential of this season so we can reevaluate at the end and just see what we have? Can we just squeeze the lemon of the 2022 season? Whatever juice is in this thing, can we just find out how much is in there without the quarterback, throwing for 2 yards in the second half kind of thing, right? So Mike White comes in. That first quarter, it looked rough. Now, the Zach people were coming out like mad. You guys saw it if you were in our chat during the game stream. It was nuts. The first incomplete pass. I told you, this is what I'm talking about. So they were waiting. But I think at the end of the day, guys, what we saw was a football game, right? We saw a football game with ups, with downs, with mistakes, with beautiful moments, excitement, all kinds of shit. But I think at the end of the day, what we saw was a young quarterback in his 5th ever NFL start who threw for 370 yards today. Okay? 370 yards. Now, he threw the ball a lot. But there's an argument to be made that if those passes weren't dropped, I counted 5 drops. Now, I haven't been able to double back and check on all that and firm it up and really look for official numbers, but it's at least 5. It's at least 5. And then there were other passes that weren't dropped, namely the Elijah Moore just couldn't seem to get his feet in bounds, even though he had 5 feet to do it. Where Garrett Wilson is toe dragging like a dynamo, Elijah Moore just can't seem to, just not enough space for me to do it. I don't know. So you had plays like that too, and they were all over the place. So you got a guy who threw for 369. He had 59% completion percentage. His official numbers look like this. 31 completions in 57 throws. Really, he had 59 dropbacks. And 1 sack, I think it was 1 sack for 3 yards. He got hit a bunch, but only 1 official sack. So he had 369 yards, no passing touchdowns, 2 passing interceptions, and he rushed 1 touchdown in on the ground on that quarterback sneak, the highly contended touchdown near the end of the game. So we have a guy. Now, there are still people out there that are not sold. Now, am I sold on the guy being the quarterback of the future? No. But I'll tell you what I am sold on, and I find it difficult to really understand how anybody couldn't see this. The guy is a significant improvement over what we had. Whatever the issues were, I'm not throwing stones. I don't have any real gripe against the long-term career of one Zach Wilson, but I don't even think it's comparable. It's night and day. Night and day. We got 2 straight 300 and change yard games. I don't think Zach Wilson has had, he hasn't. He's only had 1 300-yard game in his career. So, guys, it's not hard to see. Now, the whole thing with Mike White, and one of the reasons that I think it's really firmed up that he is the quarterback for now going into Buffalo. We'll see I think he's the quarterback for maybe the rest of this year for this team, because you look at how he's answering the question. On the Berrios drop in the end zone, which is just so painful, isn't it? It's just so painful that it was him. He's among the players that we trust the most to just do their job. You trust Berrios, whether it's a kick return, a punt return, an end around, a pass, reception. You just trust him. He's a lock. He maybe not be he's not the best player on your team, maybe not the fastest, maybe not the biggest, maybe not the strongest, maybe not the most dynamic, maybe not the most talented, but he is among the most reliable. So he drops the pass in the end zone, the touchdown, which nails the game shut. That was a wrap. The game's over. Now we got to hold him on defense, but that wasn't a problem. It was a wrap. What does Mike White say? First of all, he talks about how Berrios made a very key adjustment on the fly. They were sitting on the out. That was the pattern, so he knew he couldn't do that. There was space to the right, so he just kind of telepathically communicated with Mike White. Mike White realized what he was doing on an instantaneous little second there, which is what you want between your quarterback and receivers. He goes to the inside. Mike White zips it in. And Berrios drops it. It hits him in the hands, and he drops it. A pass that he catches 99 out of 100 times. This was the one. He dropped it. What does Mike White say? After, first of all, complimenting Berrios on his ability to adjust on the fly, he says, I got to get that ball a little bit more in front of him so it's not a difficult catch. I'm not supposed to make it a difficult catch for him in that situation. I'm supposed to get it to him. Just saying, man. That's the stuff that endears a quarterback to the team. That's the stuff. The whole game. The whole game, he took it on his chin. Now, what did he say about the last interception? Because he had the first interception, which was on the first drive, which was, look, the pass wasn't great to Corey Davis. Was behind him. It's the truth. Not a good pass. But it hit Corey Davis in the chest. Behind him, but hit him in the chest. And it pops up, like hits him on the shoulder pad plate, flies into the air, and it's an interception. It's hard to blame him for that one. He got it right to his receiver. But the last play of the game offensively, he threw it. Interception. Now, both Saleh and Mike White said something similar. But Mike White, the way he said it was, I just needed the game to end without the ball in my hands. I had to give my receivers a shot at it. I did not want to end the game with the ball in my hands, which is damn near brilliant from my perspective. How many times, having Sam Darnold and Geno Smith and Zach Wilson, how many times have we seen them go down? Last play of the game, not even an attempt. If they, Hail Mary-esque, just throw it. Give your guys at least a shot. Mike White said exactly that. I had to at least give them a shot. Now, not the greatest pass, but what did Saleh say about it?
That last interception, he had to go there with the lack of time remaining. And credit to them, they played it aggressively and made the play.
He says, look, he had pressure. You have to take a shot. Now, it didn't break optimally, but he had to take a shot. You have to take the shot. You got to try. You know what I mean? Now, we'd like to have it back. But when you look at this from an angle of, is Mike White a quarterback that we want to start the rest of the season? Do we need to go to the aging vet Joe Flacco? Do you need to say, hey, 2 weeks had to be it for Zach Wilson. We got to get him back in there. Mike White's a train wreck. Which side are we on? When you collect all the information, 2 straight 300-yard games, the first game, 10 receivers. I think this one he had 8. And you look at the way he's handling the press and the comments and the whole thing, and you got to say, this game firmed it up. From my vantage point, Mike White is our quarterback, guys. For better or worse, he's the guy. And I think rightfully so. He earned it. He earned it. And that's what we're looking at. Now, we saw some real excitement in this game. Now, again, I want to remind you, the first half was very, very disappointing. The defense, you can't take too much from the defense, but they were unable to get off the field on third downs and fourth down in one or two instances. That was kind of their Achilles heel in 2021 and the first couple weeks of this season. We saw that. And that's when teams start going for it on fourth because they know you're just not going to be able to hold them. You're not going to be able to stop them 3 yards or less twice. And that's just the bet they take. We saw it happen against the Vikings in this game. But that whole second quarter in particular, the very end of the first quarter and the second quarter in particular, we saw our defense kind of settling back into that difficulty. They struggled to do that. That said, other than that second quarter, now it was a lot. 17 points were scored in the second quarter. They stiffened up and they gave up one touchdown the rest of the game. So there was a lot to be proud of in this game. But I think most importantly, the two things that we could really be proud of is this Garrett Wilson kid. He's phenomenal. Of all the great games he's had this season, this was his best one. 162 yards. 8 receptions for $162. Were a 20.3 yard average. And he would have had that touchdown. Like Saleh even said it. Man, damn it.
He's impressive. I don't think it's a secret with him. He's dynamic. He's special. Wish he could have kept his feet in bounds on that one explosive, but man, he's amazing. That was amazing that he even got to that point with the way he broke tackles. So.
But you can't blame him because the whole play was his anyway. None of that even happens without what he does. You saw Denzel Mims down there getting good blocks, breaking him up, breaking more yardage for him. You saw Corey Davis get down there and help him out at the end. That's what you want to see. You want to see your dynamic receiver protected by the other guys that are totally willing to knock the living snot out of people. That's what you want to see. Effective blocking for the guy who's got the ball in his hands. And we saw that. So, right, look, Garrett Wilson, dude, the guy's out of control. He's out of control. And there was even other plays that were this close. What about the bomb down the sideline? Mike White is 6 inches. 6 inches. 6 inches. And Garrett Wilson makes an amazing catch. Just on his fingertips. So close. But he would have caught that too. And he's the kind of guy that you trust. Now, here's the other thing. He's going to win his 3rd straight Rookie of the Week. Now, I know people don't like to put too much, emphasis on that. I do. Now, the ultimate voting and who wins it, whatever. That's us. All right? That's on us, and we're nuts, and we do that. But hey, what does that tell you about us? Other teams' other fans' players are up there. They don't know they have no shot with us. That's us. That's our part. But again, our players got to be up there on that panel. And for 8 receptions for $162, that's good enough to get you up there. And he's going to win it again. And this will be 9 times that a New York Jets rookie won it this year. It's unbelievable what Joe Douglas has done. Speaking of rookies, the other point of pride, guys. Look, we lost our best offensive player this year, in my opinion. We lost 2 of them. Garrett Wilson's up there, of course. But the other 2, Breece Hall, we lost him. He was just taken off, man. He was going to win Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. We lost him for the season. And we lose AVT on the same day. 2nd-year player, but another one. These are 2 of, if not the 2, best offensive players on our team. We lost them. We go and we sign James Robinson. He looks good for a minute. But what do? An undrafted free agent the last 2 weeks. Bam Zonovan Knight. It looks like he's a 1st-round pick. He looks like he's among the best running backs taken in this entire draft class. He was an undrafted free agent. This is a Joe Douglas find. He had 15 rushes for 90 yards and a 6-yard average. And he had a long of 48, and that was all him. Bam Knight. Not Ty Johnson, not even James Robinson. Michael Carter's hurt, not him either. We're down. We're right on our 3rd, 4th, and 5th running backs here. And we got Bam Knight coming out of nowhere. The kid looks fluid. He looks Michael Carter-esque in his ability to make the 1st and even sometimes 2nd guy just slip right off of him. And then he'll lower his shoulder and drive through you. The guy, he's such an exciting player. Are you not excited by this guy? Garrett Wilson, Bam Knight. We have talent at the level we have rarely had talent, guys. When we get Brees back and AVT, it's unbelievable what we are able to put on the field, and it's downright exciting. Now, an interesting development that took place, and I want to keep my eye on this. Right tackle, as you guys know, George Fant was finally activated this week. Remember, he was our starting left tackle this year. Remember that? Well, he's been out since I think it was week 4. He just came back this week, but he's sitting on the sideline. You want to know why? Because the guy that came back last week, our 4th-round pick, Max Mitchell, had the game of the season for himself. He had a fantastic game. He earned the right to start. But that first half, he's struggling, boy. He was struggling. He looked a little bit confused. He was getting beat. He was doing the wrong assignments, so he was picking up the wrong guys, all that sort of stuff. So Robert Saleh was asked, why did you go to Fant? Was Mitchell banged up, anything? And he'll tell you.
Why'd you bring Fant in for Mitchell?
Felt like he was struggling a little bit, and so just try to get George out there.
So you take Max Mitchell out, you put in George Fant, who, guys, has been our starter the last 2 seasons, was our starter this season. We move him back and forth all over the place. Becton's down, Dwayne Brown, got all the stuff. He comes in today, and guess what he looked like? A starter. He looked like the best right tackle on our team, and he solidified it, and I'm going to tell you what's up. It was George Fant coming in, playing next to Herbig, and kind of, taking that and settling it all down on the right side that I believe was a major factor in the second half and the settling down of the offense and the being able to come out and gain more yards, put ourselves in position to score and have time-consuming drives. It's very important, imagine this, to have a good right tackle. Max Mitchell, I think the world of him. Great game last week. Has done very well this season for a 4th-round pick who was not even supposed to sniff the field. He's done well. He's not where George Fant is yet. And George Fant showed that. And it's real nice to get him back. Dude, we've been decimated. We've been decimated all season. So it's nice to see these guys get back. Now, the whole thing, guys, when you talk about this team, going into this game, I had more confidence, yet nerves, very nervous. I had confidence that if this team is efficient, calm, collected, and just plays their brand of football, we can beat this team. Yes, they were 9-2. Yes, they're the Vikings. Yes, we're going in their house. Yes, they got Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. But I felt strongly, if we play our game, if they play their game and we play our game, we beat them. That's how I feel. We didn't do that. We were unable to do that in the first half, particularly the second quarter, and it was too much to overcome. And the sad part about it, it wasn't too much to overcome. We had 6 stops in the red zone today. 6. 4 in the second half alone. 4. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's switch over to the defense. The defense, as we talked about, they had some rough moments in the first half, and they had difficulty getting off the field. But let's look at what it looked like for them. Just want to remind everybody of something. This Vikings team is known for one thing and one thing only: offense. In particular, Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson. We had a couple things that we wanted to do. We wanted to go in there and we wanted to mitigate the pain that Justin Jefferson can inflict on your team. And he had his catches. But I don't think anybody, if you told us before the game that he would have 7 catches for 45 yards, I don't think anybody would have complained about that. Well, guess what? That's what happened. We held Justin Jefferson to 45 yards. In addition to that, we also held Dalvin Cook to 86 yards. That's not a terrible day by any means. But that's not what they wanted out of Dalvin Cook. I'm going to tell you right now. Now, Madison added 14 yards. Justin Jefferson did have 2 rushes for 11 yards, 5.5 yard average there. And Kirk Cousins had a couple rushes. And let me tell you this. This will bring me to the next thing. I have rarely seen a game that I thought was this lopsided as far as the calls. Now, again, that's not why we lost. But talking about the Kirk Cousins scramble that got him a first down, which they ended up scoring on that drive. It was 3rd down. Quinnen Williams had him dead to rights behind the line of scrimmage. And he was held so blatantly. He was pulled like this. The shirt was pulled so tight that his shoulder pad was popping out. He was pulled like this, couldn't turn, and Kirk Cousins was able to run around him and get the requisite yardage for a first down. And I thought numerous times today the game was called very lopsided. I hate that. I hate when I have to say that. I hate when I truly believe that. I hate hearing it come out of my face. I hate it. But I can't not say it. It's a part of this game. Salah said it too. Said I thought a little bit was questionable.
It was frustrating in the first half. Some deserve, some not. It's always going to be that way. But, I think we settled it down in the second half and just played a little bit faster.
Like the helmet-to-helmet, the personal foul on Jordan Whitehead. Personal foul. And that's not even the worst one. It was the non-calls that killed me. The pass interferences. I mean, dude, just all over our guys. A solid second before the ball gets there. I mean, a second. The one on Denzel Mims. There were two on Corey Davis. I mean, we're talking blatant pass interference. Not playing the ball, running into our receiver with your hands up, with your head facing, just crashing into him. You can't do that. No flags. We saw that all day. The fact that this Jets team terrorized Kirk Cousins today to the point where he was really frazzled. We only got 2 sacks. You want to know why? Because they were allowed to hold all day long. I don't think there was one holding call on our defensive line today. And they were held disgustingly numerous times. Numerous times. Carl Lawson was mugged today. Quinnen Williams mugged. They couldn't do anything to stop Quinnen Williams without holding him. Double teams, they were still holding him. That all said, this defense held Kirk Cousins 21 of 35 for 173 yards, a 4.9 yard per play average, 1 touchdown. Guys, that's about, again, if we talked about it before the game and said, okay, optimally, what would you love to see? I'd love to see Kirk Cousins held under 200 yards. I would have said 300, 250. I'd love to see him held 200 yards. If we can hold Justin Jefferson to 50 yards or less, beautiful. If we can hold Dalvin Cook under 100, beautiful. The defense did all those things today. And why were they able to do that? Because it's something that we've rarely talked about with any success with this team. We saw another second half adjustment that changed the game. We came out, we stuffed them, gave the offense the ball. They got a field goal, stuffed them, gave the offense the ball. We did that 3 times in a row. If the offense could have gotten 1 touchdown out of that, we win. That's it. The defense held the lethal Vikings offense to 7 points in the entire second half. I'd say job well done. A few stats for them. Jordan Whitehead led the charge of tackles today, 11 tackles, 8 of which were solo. C.J. Mosley did his normal C.J. Mosley thing with 9 tackles, 3 of which were solo. Quinnen Williams had, I told you, 5 tackles, 4 solo, and a sack along with 3 tackles for a loss. Numerous hurries, numerous pressures, and a couple quarterback snacks. Michael Carter II had 4 tackles, and let's see, Quan Alexander is another one. 4 tackles, 3 solo, but dude, you want to talk about the right time, he's another one. He's another guy I think should be a priority in the offseason. Carl Lawson had 3 tackles, 2 solo, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for a loss. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Nathan Shepard had himself a good game. Sheldon Rankins came back. Jermaine Johnson only had a tackle. We didn't have any interceptions. So, I think what's interesting about my thoughts on this game as far as the defense is concerned, I really thought we were going to get 4 sacks and up and a pick, at least. That's what I thought. No turnovers for us today. No turnovers, 2 sacks. Again, I am one who believes the referees did that, at least with the sacks. I mean, not with the picks. And I think that's unfortunate. Now, even with all that said, we did more than enough to win this game, guys. More than enough. And that's why I feel so good. Now, let me say this. I didn't want to lose this game. I don't want to lose any game. But this was a national game. This was a game that lets the world know we're serious. Now, I don't know if what we did, if we did enough to get that message across. I don't care. It's a loss. But the silver lining is this, and it sounds like a reach, and it sounds like excuses, and it sounds like all those things, but it's actually the truth. If we were going to lose a game the next few weeks, this was the one to lose. It just is. Again, I don't know all that stuff. But when you talk about Vikings, Buffalo, Miami, Jacksonville, Seattle, like this is the game. This one or the Lions. If you're going to lose two, it would be these two. And then Seattle after that. Sucks to lose this one. It does. But there's a lot to feel good about. 1, Garrett Wilson. 2, Bam Knight. 3, we got George Fant back. 4, we got our quarterback. At least a quarterback that's good enough to win these games. At least he's good enough to get us there. He's good enough to put it in our playmakers' hands so we have a shot to win the damn game. But that is the news of the week. Hey, another good thing is Robert Saleh said everybody finished the game when asked about injuries. Now we got to talk about Michael Carter II. Maybe even Max Mitchell got a little banged up. James Robinson, whatever. I don't know. But he said everybody finished the game, and it didn't look like that was the case. There was one play when DJ Reed and Michael Carter II went down. We saw Quinnen Williams laying on the floor. They were waving guys in. It looked terrible. We thought it was season ending. It wasn't even game ending. So, again, lots and lots of positives. Lots of positives. Lots of near misses. Lots of things to feel good about. Can we talk about this real quick? This was an historic game. We saw the longest ever New York Jets field goal in this game against the Minnesota Vikings. Greg the Leg Zuerlein hit a 60-yard field goal. We've never seen that. Never seen that before. Last week he hit a 57-yarder in the rain. I gotta say, I was all Eddie Pinheiro. I was all Eddie Pinheiro. I got to say, they just might have picked the right kicker. I'm happy about that. That's good news. That's another one, man. How can you not feel good about Greg the Leg? He had 500 field goals today. If it wasn't for him, it's not even a game. Think about it. We were there. We needed a 60-yarder from this guy to be in this game. Not bad. Not bad at all, everybody. So, look, we got something really important to talk about. Okay, and I'm going to give you guys, I talked to some people. You guys know I have a few connections. And I asked some questions today. And I talked to some people. And I heard something. And I'm going to tell you. In the Intelligent Gripe. There was one thing that went wrong today, guys. One thing. Now, yes, we had drop passes. Tyler Conklin, I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He's too nervous about his old team. Maybe he's on the take. I don't know. We saw Corey Davis doing good things and bad things. We saw James Robinson unable to get we saw Mike White. All kinds of things that were ups and downs. We saw Berrios have an very unlikely drop. We saw Garrett Wilson, yes, tiny toe out of bounds or else we win. All those kinds of little things. We saw all that happen. And that's all well and good. But we lost because of one thing and one thing only. And that is because we got too damn cute and or overcomplicated a very simple equation 6 times in the red zone.
You guys were in the red zone 6 times, obviously only scored 1 touchdown. I mean, does that feel like what changed the game here today?
Yeah, 100%.
6 times. We made it sometimes down to the 1-inch line. We made it within the 5 twice. We couldn't punch it in. Why is that? Is it because our men aren't as good as their men? No. No, it's not that way. Now, that's not to take a single thing away from them. Of course, you're not going to do it easily every time. But you got to be able to do it once. You got to be able to do it. We did 1 touchdown out of 6 red zone trips. Now, here's the thing. I'm always one to say, if you get down there and you get points, there's value there. Of course, field goals are of value. We know this. But you cannot beat a team like the Minnesota Vikings with field goals. Robert Saleh said as much.
We couldn't score in the red zone.
Robert, yeah, 1 for 6 in the red zone. Is that pretty much the story of the game?
Yeah, it's they were 3 for 3. We were 1 of 6. We were 1 of 3 in goal-to-goal situations. Can't win the game just kicking field goals.
He said it. You can't win the game kicking field goals. We were 1 of 3 in goal-to-go situations. Why? Is it because Garrett Wilson's not good enough? Is it because Mike White can't throw him the ball? Is it because Bam Knight doesn't have a 6-yard average? None of those things. It's because of the way that we attacked it. Now, I'm going to share something with you. The one example I'll use is we drive all the way down there, and then out of nowhere, we just decide to let's give Garrett Wilson a pass. Ruins the momentum, and it wastes a play. Okay, and it changes the thing. We had them on their heels. But that's not even the one I want to talk about. The one is when we did Mike LaFleur has just an interesting propensity to like to throw the ball 3 to 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I don't know why that is. Maybe not 5 yards. Let's say 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He does it often. He did it numerous times today. Now, 3 of those times in the red zone, when we were there, Mike LaFleur chose a trick style play instead of just doing what we did to get down there. The play calling was atrocious. The one to Berrios on going around the outside. Now, Berrios made a mistake on the play. The pass was not very good on the play. And then obviously we had the George Fant weird block because Berrios took the wrong angle and the whole thing. He got the block in the back, and instead of being a positive play, we ended up losing 10 yards, taking us from the 6-yard line all the way back to the 16-yard line, and we couldn't overcome it. And we ruined the momentum of the whole drive. You know, I've said this a million times. I am a firm believer in momentum, in the swings, in the opportunities, in the energy of the game. I believe it. There's nobody that can ever tell me otherwise. I've been watching sports far too long. When the momentum's happening, the ball just seems to land in the right spot. It bounces the right way. All those things happen in the same period of time. You must capitalize on it. When you overcomplicate it and you add craziness to it, tricks, empty backfields on 3rd and 4th down, which I don't understand. We've been talking about it for 2 years now. He's still doing it. I don't know what it is, and it ruined the game. It ruined it. Now, again, I'm not taking away George Fant's bad block. I'm not taking away whatever drop passes. I'm not taking away any of that stuff. But when you ruin the momentum, change the trajectory with your play calling, it makes it more difficult to capitalize on the momentum. He did it 4 times. 3 times inside the 20 when he just decided to overcomplicate it. Now, I have to rewatch it and look at the specific plays, who's blocking what we look like, what the defense looks. I haven't been able to do that yet. But I can tell you what, during the game, it was clear to see. And toward the end, we started knowing he was going to do it. You could tell what he was going to do. And there's an interesting thing about it. I don't know what it is, but it seems like Mike LaFleur, who, by the way, has proven he can be a very good offensive coordinator. He schemes guys open constantly. He gets us in those positions. He's good. Something happens to him on 3rd and 4th and short and inside the red zone. Something happens to him. It's as if he feels like he wants to prove that these mistakes that he's made in the past, that they can work. It's like he's stuck there. No, the play didn't work. There's no reason to have a trick play on the 6-yard line. There's just no reason for it. Send Garrett Wilson on a slant, hit him. Do the end zone corner fade, do it. Bam Knight up the middle, do it. Whatever it is, it's working, do it. They're on their heels, they're huffing and puffing. They're scared. You stab them in the chest when that happens. When they're all wide-eyed and nervous, stab them. That's what you do. You don't get fancy and run around behind the line of scrimmage. Why does Garrett Wilson have the ball in his hands to throw it? Why? There's something there. that we must overcome. If we are to get past this level where we are, we got to get past it. Yes, Mike White? Absolutely. Yes, Robert Saleh? Absolutely. That's the issue. Well, what is it? Oh, we couldn't score. I know you couldn't score. Well, what is it? Well, here's what I heard. I reached out to a couple of beat guys. Maybe not beat. I don't know if you want to call them beat. Let's call them insiders. Okay? Reached out to two. Both of them told me the same thing in different forms. Mike LaFleur is in trouble tonight. Now, it doesn't mean he's getting fired. I'm not saying anything. It's not like that. But he's being spoken to about his play choices in those types of situations. Guys, it's undeniable. We've been griping about it for a while. Particularly empty backfield on 3rd and short, even 4th and short. Why? Why is there no running back to make them think it could be a running play? Why? Why are you letting them know, nope, we don't have to do that. You don't even got to look. Just back up and get into coverage. It's like nothing to worry about. Why? He does it consistently. It's not once in a while. I have no problem with once in a while. He does it all the time. Almost every time, I'd venture to say. Maybe I'm wrong. It feels like it. So the good news, guys, is the Jets know. The Jets have about had it. Now, again, I'm not even insinuating for a second he's in any trouble for his job, but he's being spoken to tonight. They're not happy with it. It's him. The players know. The coaches know. Everybody's sick of it. They want it to change. And that's when you start wondering, when we talk about the ability to develop young quarterbacks, maybe there are those similar style mistakes, stubborn, stuck on a thing that's not going to work. Maybe that's in the mix here. You know what I mean? Maybe it is. Again, whatever's going on with LaFleur, Calabrese, Zach, it's not working. Something needs to be fixed. I don't know what it is. Maybe Zach sucks, right? Maybe he's the worst. He never even wanted to play quarterback. I don't know. It could be anything. But it could also very well be that the guy we're seeing struggling, getting past stubborn tendencies on the field in his play calling, maybe that's happening with your quarterback development as well. Maybe. I'm not saying he's trying to ruin anything, but maybe it's happening anyway. So the good news is we might be looking at a change, at least as far as getting stuck on stupid. Right? You can't be stuck on stupid, Mike LaFleur. Mike LaFleur lost us this game. Sure, you can point to Berrios dropping. Yeah, of course. Hey, look, he got us there. We won. Right? Mike LaFleur, he got us there. We won the game. We were there. The defense held them. We had another chance. We were there. Garrett Wilson doesn't step out of bounds. We win the game. Right? There's all kinds of things. But the underlying real issue is that we had 6 stops in the red zone. 3 of them were goal-to-go situations. We scored 1 touchdown. That's the problem, and most of that was because the play calling, the play design, everything changed in that moment, and that needs to change. And the good news is it looks like it is changing, or at least has the potential to, and that is the intelligent gripe. I'll tell you what, man, looking at the box score, you look at the box score, you want to see the numbers. I hate it. It looks, you see all these interceptions on the Minnesota side and none on the Jets side. It just bothers me. I don't like it. I don't like that we only had 2 sacks either. I thought we were going to have 6. That's what I thought. I said 4 and up, I'm fine. 2. Now, again, we pressured him enough that Kirk Cousins was way off today. Fair enough. Could you not see it from the beginning? From the first drive, Kirk Cousins looked off. Why? Because he's scared shitless. That's why. Because Quinnen Williams is an animal. Because Bryce Huff is an animal. Because Carl Lawson is an animal. Michael Clemens, do I need to say anything? As soon as a guy lines up, Kirk Cousins is like, I'm in trouble. I'm scared. And he just drives your tackle into your... That's what it looks like. He was off all day. He threw 173 yards today. We shut them down in the second half. We could have won this game. Now, let's just take this, understand that it was the game to lose if you were going to lose a game. It was the game to lose. It was the game to lose. We've already beaten the Bills. They're going to be hungry, man. They're going to want us. They're going to want to make a statement, all those things. But We are coming off a game where we've proven our quarterback can throw for 300 consistently. Our running backs can gain yards. Our offensive line is getting bolstered. Our wide receivers are sick. One of our tight ends can't catch. I don't know what's up with it. I'd fucking play Ruckert, man. I would. Put Ruckert in. I'd play Ruckert, man. I would. Why isn't he playing? The Conklin thing, I love Conklin. I love the whole idea of him. And when he's good, he's good. But boy, oh boy, man. 3 drops in one game? Dude, no way. What is this? So we can ride this. We can ride this right into Buffalo, man. We're the best. We beat us. If we didn't drop those passes, that game's ours. Think about this. If all those red zones are touchdowns, that is a blowout. Blowout. Think about that. We got, let's just say, the 3 that were goal to go, or let's say the 2 that we didn't score. That's 14 points. Blowout of sorts. Just that alone. If the times we got within the 10-yard line, we scored a touchdown instead of a field goal, blowout. And we know that. We know it. We got our quarterback. We got our receivers. We got our defense. We got our offensive line. We got our running backs. Blowout. Go into Buffalo knowing that. Bloody their lips, man. Fatten those lips. Punch them square in the mouth 10 times. Bust those lips up. Lips all day. That's what you got to do. The good news, guys, is we can. This is the most positive loss in recent memory. Don't forget, this is what we asked for. If we're going to lose games, it's because we lost them in the last minute. We just couldn't close it. We're a young team. We don't know how to seal the deal yet consistently. It's exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what I saw. And I, for one, am excited about this team. And we're going to the playoffs, man. We're going to win enough games to get to the playoffs. 3 or 4 more. We're doing it. We're doing it. Don't you worry. It's going to be great. Guys, I thank you for watching episode 95 of GreenBean's Jets Pod. I hope you're coming down. It was disappointing, guys. We all feel the same way. There's so much to be happy about. So much to be hopeful about. Take that and ride it into the week. And look, you're going to have to weather a bunch of bullshit fans throwing stones. That's normal. That's the way it is. I hope you have a good week, everybody. Thanks for watching. And as always, go Jets.